Hi, my name is Jim Sonneville. Welcome to Burlington, Iowa. Come see my Coca-Cola bottle collection. I've got two rooms in my collection. The room that we're in right now is my work room. It's where I take bottles and caps and cases and put together a display to put into my collection in the room next to us. I do a lot of research to see the display type that I'm trying to put together, what time frame in Coca-Cola's history that I'm looking to represent. The room next to us is the actual collection itself, and it's where I have different displays for different years, different types. Started back in the early 2000s. One of my sons, Matthew, was on vacation down in Atlanta, Georgia, and he saw a Coke bottle down there and he brought it and gave it to me. He said, "Dad, I just saw this bottle, thought it was pretty neat, never saw one in Illinois like this," and he said, "Thought you might like it." I didn't think much of it, thought it was an interesting bottle. I set it on my dresser that night. And as I was traveling, driving in my truck over the country, I'd see other Coke bottles and they looked interesting. So I bought a couple of them, brought them home, set them on the dresser. Pretty soon I went from 1 to 2, 3 or 4 bottles. And my wife says, "Maybe you ought to put some of those bottles on a bookcase." And I said, "Okay." So we had an empty bookcase and I started stacking them on there, and well, got a whole bookcase full. And the more I traveled, I saw that Coke had different bottles in different regions in the United States because each bottling company was different. And the more research I did on it, it became more interesting. From there, it went to a new level because I'd go around the country and talk to people that were either collectors or antique dealers or anything. And when I found a particular bottle, there was a story that went with that bottle. I would come home with bottles every week when I was over the road. It was just a matter of how many. I can remember once I was in Dallas, Texas, there was a man down there selling 52 six-packs of bottles. I brought home 52 six-packs in my cab of my truck on the bunk. I slept on the floor of the tractor. Originally, Coke was sold as fountain drink. Then they started to put it in bottles and they were sold as individual bottles. Then Coke came up with an idea, the bottlers did, about putting them in a six-pack. I have some original six-packs that go back into the 1920s. They went from 6-packs up to 12-packs. So I have some 12-packs. Some were made of cardboard, some are made of wood, some are made of metal. Depending on what the economy of the United States was at the time, you could get metal, so you could make metal cases. The original bottlers did not advertise themselves as Coca-Cola bottlers. They advertised themselves by their name, their family name, their city name, whatever they were, XYZ bottling company. That's what you would see on the bottle, that's what you see on the case. Little by little, they started to change that and went to advertising Coca-Cola as a brand. Early on, the bottles and the cases would have the company name on there, and then they would have Coke in a smaller area. So I have a case in there where it advertised from Litchfield, Illinois, and it was the Litchfield Bottling Company. I also have a crate. There was a railroad crate. It's a steel crate, and it's from 1926, and they would use it to transport Coca-Cola in rail cars, and it held 72 bottles. In the beginning, my family thought it was just something interesting that kind of took my time when I was out on the road, gave me an interest to do, and they are very supportive, extremely supportive. All my family has. They will call me. Sometimes they're at an antique store and say, "Hey, there's some bottles here, are you interested?" They've been 100% supportive. My wife has been supportive. She's helped me with cabinets in here and designing different displays and things like that. My grandkids now are contributing what they can with pictures of Coca-Cola in their hands. I wanted to make this look like what things were back in the 1800s, the 1900s, the 20s, 30s, 40s. So I have displays for those whole types of times in our history. The first person to actually say this looked like a museum was my dad. And that meant something to me to hear my dad say, "You've got a mini museum down in your basement." It's not just a collection of a shelf with bottles on it that people come and just look bottle after bottle after bottle. There's a story behind each display that I have down here. The new Coke was started in 1985, was it? So I do have several bottles from that time. It was a big deal with Coca-Cola when they changed their recipe back then because they had their original recipe for 100 years. When I started collecting bottles and found out that I could make a bottle and put a person's name on it, I thought, what a perfect gift for someone to go and give them for helping me do what I do in my work. And so Laurel has helped me in the last several months dramatically with things. Very small things, from giving directions to helping me locate something, customer or to that effect. I wanted to show her some appreciation, so I ordered a bottle to her, and when I was there in Lincoln, I gave her the bottle and told her why. Was because I appreciated her help with me. When you do something like this, the brand becomes important to you. It becomes something. And I preach Coca-Cola every day of my life.